Good morning, everybody. Welcome to week number 9, which actually starts on Monday, October 24th. So, in this week, we continue our exploration of adult education and adult learning, meaning we're going to be reading chapter 13. And in chapter 13, we're looking at cognitive development in adulthood, and I'll give just a brief overview on that in a minute. So the nuts and the bolts for the week are, well, first of all, you're watching the video, so that's good. The nuts and the bolts are, I'd like you to read chapter 13, which includes cognitive thinking, and it also includes a discussion on wisdom. And I'll talk about each one of these in brief in a moment. Electronic reserves article, Chickering, Perry's scheme. Perry's scheme is amazing. There's also YouTube video, and due next week, next Sunday, is the Exploration Annotated Bibliography and Learning Organizer. So I'll give you some information on that. So let's get right to the materials. Oh, there's one other thing before we get going into the weekly materials. The exploration project presentation, they're scheduled for the last 2 or 3 weeks. I'm working on the schedule. I think it's going to be the last 3 weeks, weeks number 12, 13, and 14, but I may modify that, and I will send out shortly a sign-up sheet, meaning there's going to be 3 weeks that you can present, and I divide the class into 3, or actually I provide you with a sign-up sheet, an electronic sign-up sheet. I usually use Doodle to set up a poll where you're given 1 vote, and you can decide that you want to go and present your materials in the first week, which would be week number 12, the second week, or the third week. And I can tell you, the early adopters, they get the best shot at what they would like to do and when they would like to present. When I was a student, I always would be kind of in the first week, and that was just my preference. But I know not everybody is like that. But if you want to do it in the first week, that's fine, or the second or the third is truly up to you. So be on the lookout for the sign-up sheet. You don't have to have your materials ready. It's just me getting things set up for weeks 12, 13, and 14. So be aware, if you want to go first, you need to sign up first. Okay, in week number 9, as I said, we're going to be looking at learning and cognition and adult cognitive development. Basically, it's discussing what kind of changes that happen to us as we age, as we develop. And when you're looking at this chapter, you're going to find out that there's 2 really major portions, major thinking on the subject. One is dialectical thinking, which it's represented by Keegan, is an author that I always think of when it comes to dialectical thinking. And really, this whole idea allows for the acceptance of alternative truths or ways of thinking about the many contradictions and paradoxes that we face in everyday life. So it is not black and white thinking. It's being able to look at an issue, and it could be a political issue. It could be any issue. It could be, one thing that you're seeing a lot about. It seems like it's every other ad that I see on TV right now. It has to do with the right to life and the Supreme Court, Roe v. Wade. Dialectical thinking gives the person the ability to actually see different truths in this issue. And some might say that's crazy. You can only have one idea on a subject, but it's in dialectical thinking, which is a pretty high level of thinking. You can actually see truths in both sides of the issue. And the other topic that we're going to be exploring this week is the whole topic about wisdom. And oftentimes wisdom is thought of in an age thing. Well, somebody has wisdom that has lived a long life. Somebody has wisdom because they're old. Somebody has wisdom, you fill in the blanks. But what the scholars agree with is that wisdom really involves a certain type of experience-based knowledge, the ability to reflect on it, and it's reflect on it in a way that it looks for the common good and makes sound judgment. So it is not an age thing. Somebody that is 90 years old doesn't necessarily mean that they are wise. And Eastern and Western views are different on this. But if remember earlier in the course, we looked at some John Dewey materials, and John Dewey said not all experience result in learning. And I view wisdom the same way. If you don't reflect on the materials and you haven't, maybe haven't lived life or examined things, you might have the age, but you might not be a wise person. So 2 fascinating subjects this week. So please take a watch or a look at the video, Perry's Scheme of Intellectual Development. And then I put this in so we can have a snapshot of where we're at. Your learning reflective papers, these were due last Sunday. They are sitting in queue. I've already graded a few of them, and I'm saying I will have all of the LRPs submitted. They will be graded by Monday, October 14th, by the end of the day on the 14th. So they're in there. If you haven't submitted them, please get them to me as soon as possible, or let me know that you're having difficulty and we can work something out. Exploration projects. What's due next Sunday, this is the Annotated Bibliography and Learning Organizer, period. So this is just, excuse me, this is your Annotated Bib Learning Organizer. I'll go over that. And then the presentation, or actually it's not a presentation. You're facilitating our learning in weeks 12, 13, and 14. And then at the end of the course, we have the culminating assignment, which is the learning autobiography. Nuts and bolts, read, discussion question. You have 2 options here. Adult cognition or wisdom. A preview to the next week. So the materials. Week 9, introduction. It's just a very brief introduction to the week, the learning objectives. You can take a look at that. Something kind of screwy happened in Brightspace when I was setting up this material. So you may see this where it says, please click on the title. I'm going to click on that. And really all it does is just show you the discussion forum. Go back. Like I said, it's a little screwy. Piaget, you can take a look at the materials I put there. Similarity and differences of the 2 studies on adult cognition, a visual mind map, and then here's electronic reserve articles. Discussion forum, and that is it. So before I leave this, and we've been going 8 minutes and 30 seconds, I wanted to show you the Exploration Project Learning Organizer and Annotated Bibliography before we left. So this is what's due next week. The Learning Organizer, clicking on that. Just bear with me. Uh-oh. Okay, here we go. So here's the project question. And one thing I'd like to say about this particular portion of the assignment, I would like you to put the Learning Organizer and the Annotated Bibliography in one file. So always I suggest doing a cover page. I stripped the cover page from this sample just so you could see kind of what we're looking at. So the project question, which should be on the Annotated Bib and also the Learning Organizer, what educational practices reach out and support imprisoned adult learners seeking to attain an education? So that's the question. An introduction, something on incarcerated learner module and resources, So these are what the author, the developer of this material, is what the student was saying that everybody was going to do. Now this is, you can think of the learning organizer as an outline of what you're going to do. So the first thing is they were going to introduce a note-taking tool. They were going to do a presentation. This was a Prezi presentation. It could be a PowerPoint, some female prison writing excerpts, a brief on how to access a video, and then life sentencing viewing. The learning objectives, and then they're doing a discussion board. So that is, like you said, this is your opportunity to say, this is what the subject is. Here's an introduction. Here's an overview of the topic. This is specifically what I'm asking you to do. I will be asking you to do when I present or I facilitate your learning in week number 12, 13, or 14. So let me go back. So that is the learning organizer. Here's the annotated bibliography. Sorry for the dog barking in the back. I have an Australian Shepherd who has unbelievable amount of energy. So I can run the dog in the morning, and a few hours later they want to go for a walk and herd other dogs outside. So if you hear barking, that's what it is. I won't apologize for it, but just usually means that the dog needs to go out. Okay, so here's the same project question. This is the annotated bibliography. For those that have never written an annotated bibliography, which I think probably most of the people in the class have, what it is, first of all, you give the reference, and then give a paragraph, 2, 3, 4 sentences about what you found in this particular reference. These references could be references beyond. Probably they will be references that you use to develop the materials for your exploration project. As you can see, here's this happened to be a motion picture that this person used. This is where they got it, and then they explain what was in that. So to me, I've always thought a annotated bibliography explains to the reader what is included in this resource and also why they might want to take a look at it. It kind of is like an abstract for the actual reference. So take a look at this. This is meant to be an exemplar. Well, this is an exemplar. And let me get back to where we were. So that's what's due next Sunday. If you have any questions, let me know. I may send out midweek another video on the actual annotated bibliography and learning organizer. But there is just one thing. Sorry to take so long here. I'm just trying to get as much information as I can out to you. Question. No, that's not where I wanted to be. Well, I'm going to leave it right there. And, oh, I found it. Okay, sorry. Exploration project examples and exemplars. You can find that down here, right here. And this just gives you another view of it. It is from Steve, and then we have something up here from Rebecca Platts. Rebecca agreed that we could take a look at her material. So right here you have something that she was going to do. Please take a look at all these resources before you submit yours, and also take a look at in the information on Brightspace and in the syllabus. So I apologize for talking too long. There's just a lot of material out there, and I wanted to get it to you. So that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. By the end of Monday, you will have your graded reflection papers, and we'll go from there. Hope you have a great week, everybody, and I'll see you online. Bye.